Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. I've got a little nod to Christmas back there with the snowflake and with my hat. It is the 23rd, and so if you're listening to this right now, it's a couple days before Christmas. If you're listening to it tomorrow, then it's Christmas Eve, and maybe you listen to it on Christmas or maybe the day after, Boxing Day. Uh, Whenever, that's okay. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on what is a most peculiar Christmas, Christmas 2020. Lights. This year, more than ever, around us where we live here in Overton, the Christmas lights have been out in full force. And they've reminded us of the season, and they've brought us great joy. When it's dark, especially when it's dark, and walking out our door, the Christmas season, this year, it's been like going down the midway at a county fair when I grew up, where there's lights galore on both sides. Each house decorated in some way. It's been really fun, and it's been a wonderful reminder of one of the symbols of Christmas, which is light. We've also had the excitement of the Bethlehem Star, the confluence coming together of Saturn and Jupiter, the one in every 800 years phenomenon. Now, I saw it a couple weeks ago. We were out looking at some lights around the village. It was a really crystal clear night, and we could see them very, very well off in the distance. If you can believe it, I haven't seen them since. There hasn't been a night when I've been able to go out at that time, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, the best time to see them, and a night when it's been clear. It's been overcast. It's been cloudy. It's been rainy, and it feels like that's been like that for days, actually. So we've not been able to see this extraordinary light. Myself and Amy really wanted to see it, but it didn't work out. At times throughout this year, 2020, it feels like there has been a darkness or a cloud that's been hanging over us as a people, and probably you personally as well to some extent. 2020 has been so difficult for a variety of reasons. It's been most peculiar. It's been unlike any other year that I've lived through. And now that we're almost to Christmas, it's proving to be peculiar once again. With the virus changing and the intensity increasing of coronavirus right now, everyone has had to adapt yet again. And I think we're good at adapting. My guess is you're really good at adapting. But if you're like me, you've been doing it for months now, and it sort of gets tiring. But changing is what we do. And we've had to change who we see, where we go, and most aspects of life. For most of us in the UK, the changes thrust upon us this Christmas have been really difficult to digest. The plans that we had in place from the 23rd to the 27th to get together with two other bubbles and be able to see some friends and family possibly, to go to a friend's house, have now been downgraded to one day, just to Christmas Day. And for those of us living close, at least in Hampshire, from Boxing Day, we now enter into Tier 4, which means we can't really see anybody unless it's outdoors, and even then, that's really limited. Our church has decided not to have any in-person gatherings because we thought this was just going to be too much to try to pull all this off. And that was also very difficult for me to digest. Now, usually as a family, we're overrun with Christmas events in the run up to Christmas. There's so many different things going on. There's different parties to attend. There's different events at the school. There's nativities. There's this. There's that. There's on and on and on. This year, not so much. And for most other families I know, most events have either been canceled or they've had to be adapted. We were able to see Santa at a petting farm, which was great. It was such a fun outing. We took some wonderful pictures. Um, and we've been able to attend a Christingle service in person too. Normally we'd be darting here and there, meeting all kinds of people to celebrate and mark the Christmas story, but not in 2020, not in this most peculiar of Christmases. This year we, though, have been overly pleased to be part of Lights Up Overton, which was started by a neighbor across the street, Emma. She came up with this idea. She basically encouraged people across the village to do two really simple things. Firstly, to put up lights and to decorate, to help to bring the season alive. Then, on Saturday nights, to simply go around the village and see the lights, and to have a festive feeling to these evenings. And the lights have been beautiful, and the Saturday nights have been great. And other than the last one, it didn't rain. It was perfect weather for them. As churches, we were able to put together little carol groups of up to 6, which we were allowed to have to sing. And we've had numerous groups out each Saturday night. In fact, I was able to be part of a group twice right out here on Boathouse Meadow where we live. So it was really cool to be able to singing the Christmas story with friends right there, almost in front of our house. It's got me thinking about what we can do next year, but at this point, that's a long way off, so I'm going to hold off on thrusting those ideas out there too far. This Christmas season, we have seen unbridled joy in the midst of trouble. In the center of the restrictions, the utter joy of the season has not been lost, which is great. Our youngest, Rose, whose name actually means joy, is quite exuberant, and if you know her, you've likely experienced her zest for life. If you've ever seen her with anything to do with Christmas, you've been bowled over by her zest for life. It is just over the top. She has been so excited about the Advent calendar, the Christmas lights, the Christmas tree, seeing Santa, especially when Santa came right outside our window last Saturday night. There he was, and oh man, it was really hard to hold her at that point. She was trying to get away. Santa and his entourage of elves coming down the street with music blaring. It was really quite something. I couldn't contain her. Her joy feels unmatched. She embodies the childlike joy that we so often see in Christmas films and that we so often sing about in songs. So that we could try and contain her excitement, we decided to walk around the neighborhood as much as possible and check out the lights. And it did work to some extent, but she still bubbles over every time she walks out the door, basically, if it's dark. So what about your joy? What about my joy this Christmas? There's so much that we could be unjoyful about and ungrateful about when we think about 2020. It has been a heck of a year. You've likely experienced some loss, some sort of loss, whether that be loss of your plans, loss of a job, freedoms to see friends, to see family. Maybe you've had your own sickness, and maybe you've lost a friend or family due to the virus itself. We've all been affected, and it's okay to struggle with what we have had to face. And we've had to face a lot. It's not been easy to be restricted and to look at the breaking news, which seems to point toward more lockdown situations in the coming days. And I'm sure for people that work in hospitals and care homes, it's been so difficult day after day to go in and face these horrific situations with patients. Should all of that steal our joy? Should all these changes that we've had to endure steal my joy? The simple answer is no, but it feels like it tries to. In the Bible it says, "The joy of the Lord is our strength." So when I feel weak and defeated, and that certainly happens, it's the indwelling joy of the Lord that gives me the strength. When Jesus is living inside of me, inside of you, one of the fruits of the Spirit that we show is joy. Does that mean that you and I are never sad, never feeling down, never wanting just to take a nap or do something just to get away? Of course not. We have to be able to show the range of emotion. We're people. It does mean, though, that the inside joy that is there is what gives me the strength. And even in these most difficult of times, we can be grateful and remember that Jesus coming to this earth is the reason that we have joy and the reason that we celebrate this Christmas season. So what I really want to say is that the reason for this season is the coming of Christ to this terrestrial ball. It has not changed. The reason has not changed. He came some 2,000 years ago to a dark world. He came as the light of the world to shine brightly. And then to have his creation, you, and me, shine brightly as well. Just like the twinkling lights that we've seen up and down our streets, night after night when we've gone outside. And as we've looked up into the skies, we too are meant to shine. So this most peculiar Christmas, just an encouragement to you, may your light shine at this Christmas time. May you be able to live out the joy that is within you. And if you are struggling, if you are feeling down and feeling defeated, And if you are feeling ill, to be able to call on Jesus, who is the one who brings us joy. May you have a very Merry Christmas, even though it may be peculiar. We're still going to celebrate. Bye-bye for now, and Merry Christmas all.